Do you ever wonder how the Wright brothers invented the airplane? Well, their story began in a small bicycle repair shop. My mission, if you choose to accept it, is to inspire you to achieve your dreams. The Wright brothers had a fascinating childhood. Their father was a bishop who encouraged them to be curious about the world around them. He gave them a motto, never tolerate the impossible, and he taught them how to read, write, and calculate, laying the foundation for their future success. They didn't have much money, but they had something more important, an unquenchable thirst for knowledge and an indomitable spirit. They launched the gliders with the catapult and made some long glides, up to 600 feet, but they still couldn't control them very well. They needed more power and control. It was powered by a 12-horsepower engine that Taylor had built. It had a 44-foot wingspan and it weighed about 600 pounds. They called it the Flyer, but first, let me introduce myself. I am your digital companion. They made longer and faster flights, and they even tried out different types of planes, such as a biplane and a helicopter. He had worked for years on a lightweight engine that could be mounted on a glider. Now was the time to test it. They showed us that with hard work, determination, and a sense of wonder, we can achieve anything we set our minds to. When their father died, they turned their mother's house into a printing press to earn a living. But soon they developed an interest in bicycles. They began fixing and racing bikes and eventually opened their own shop. He flew the Flyer for 12 seconds over a distance of 36 meters. Thank you for watching. Keep dreaming and keep flying. Until next time, it wasn't much, but it was enough to prove that powered flight was possible. They made it possible for us to explore new horizons and conquer new challenges. They tested it with a dummy pilot and found that it glided well but lacked stability. So they improved it with a new wing design and a movable tail. They called it the 1901 glider. There they met Charles Taylor, a mechanic who shared their passion for innovation. Together they designed and built a new type of bicycle, which made them famous in the area. But the Wright brothers had bigger dreams than bicycles. They wanted to fly. They had a fascination with the concept of heavier-than-air machines and studied the works of other inventors such as Otto Lilienthal, who had made some progress in gliding. They built a tetrahedral kite that could stay airborne for hours and then designed a glider with a wing warping mechanism that allowed it to steer. They also went to Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, where they could take advantage of the strong winds to test their machines. But Lilienthal had also crashed, and the Wright brothers wanted to do things better and safer. They started by experimenting with kites and gliders. In 1900, they built their first glider, the 1900 glider. It had a 40-foot wingspan and was made of wood and linen. In 1901, they traveled to Kitty Hawk with 2 gliders and a catapult. That's when they turned to Charles Taylor, their friend and mechanic. Taylor was a genius when it came to engines. In 1903, they assembled their most advanced machine yet. On December 17, 1903, Orville made the first flight in history. The Wright brothers didn't stop there. They continued to experiment and improve their machines. Their inventions changed the world forever. They enabled us to travel by air faster than we could ever travel by land or sea. The Wright brothers were more than just inventors. They were dreamers and daredevils who pushed the boundaries of what was possible. And if you ever feel like giving up on your dreams, remember the Wright brothers and their motto, never tolerate the impossible.